What's up, y'all? I don't want to take too much time today. As usual, I like to keep my videos to a certain limit, at least in the beginning, as to not really overstay my welcome. So let me just get straight to it. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I come in peace, you know that I come with love, and that I come with information. I'm big on us as human beings connecting and not being deceived. That's one of my big things. So let me just preface whatever I have to say with that. Okay, disclaimer, if you will. All right. So what I wanted to make the video today about is something very important. Many of you will cut the video off right after I say this. But if you're an intellectual and then you're about progression, I want you to stick around for about 10 minutes. I want to talk about blackness. Blackness. Being black. The word black. Now, obviously, this video or the information that I have to provide from my research and experience is more than 10 minutes worth. So I'm going to make this video, and I might make more. I know I will make more. I was going to wait to make this video actually, but due to recent events, I feel like it's necessary for me to use my voice now. Okay? So if we define the word black, many people think that black is one thing, which it is, but we have to look at this. The word black, when defined correctly, now not just talking about Merriam-Webster's dictionary, I'm talking about this alternate forms of dictionaries that we need to use. If you Google right now, go to Google and type in black definition, it will tell you it is the darkest shade. Listen to me. Black is the darkest shade owing to the complete voidness of light or the complete absorption of light. In other words, for something to be deemed black, it is because it is the darkest shade available, and that is because either the complete lack of light, there is no light, so it is black, or it is completely filled with light, completely absorbed with light. There is only light, therefore it is black. Now, I know this may be difficult at first for many people to understand, and I can go into depth on it, but I need you to understand that basis first. So the first thing we need to understand is that we haven't been taught the correct definition or the full definition of what black is. We haven't researched that. So if as young children we hear that black is just the lack of light, if you're black, that means you have no light. What is that really telling us? Subconsciously, okay? Now, contrarily, if we were to tell young children that you are black, and then they research what blackness is, and it tells you that to be black is to be completely absorbed with light, I would bet maybe that their perception would be different then. Wouldn't you agree? So now let me move on, because that was just a basis of the definition of the word black. Now the word black is what we need to understand. I am what many people would call black, okay? My father is African American. My mother is African American and Latina. So my mother's side of the family is from Costa Rica. So I also have a Latino experience, which I can speak about later. But right now I'm speaking about my black experience. When people see me, they see someone who is considered African American or Nubian or a Negro or a nigga or a nigger or black, okay? None of these words really offend me when somebody else uses it at this point anymore, because I know what I am. And I'm making this video for people to understand who you are, and for you to understand who you are. Okay? So, I understand that I'm black. And the word black, I use that as a term meaning a being or object that is completely absorbed with light. So when I say I'm black, I'm telling you I'm absorbed with light. Many will call it melanin. We could call it sunlight. We could call it a hypothetical light. a figurative light in the midst of a figurative darkness. But really what it is I'm absorbed with love, positivity, in information. That's what I am. And I need you to be that too. This video is for people to master themselves. All my videos are dialogues and a journey to mastering yourself, okay? So right now what we have is chaos going on in our world. And if we were to zoom into that, particularly the black community, I would say, is doing the worst of all of us. Now, again, I say this as a black man, not to demean us, but only to be realistic. Our condition as a whole is very unorganized, okay? When you speak of other nationalities and other races, because let's just be real, there are other nationalities, Asian, Latino, you know what I mean? White, Native American, Indian. These are nationalities, at the very least. That's not an opinion. So when we speak about the Asian community or the Asian nationalities, they stick together. Now, mind you, there may be bickering amongst the North Koreans and the South Koreans, but when it comes down to it, they stick together. They understand there's a common ground, and they're brothers and sisters. Us, as far as black people are concerned, we don't. Now, this is where I should go into depth on the environment that surrounds our upbringing, leading to thought patterns that are not progressive for our development. I say that to say, if you place someone in an undesirable environment with a lack of tools and resources and knowledge, and other beings who are also on that low frequency or low thought pattern, you have a higher chance for chaos or disruption. This is what we see in what we call the hoods or our ghettos. Okay? Another word that many people use wrong is ghetto. At my job, my boss, or should I say my manager, is Caucasian, and she always uses the word ghetto to describe, coincidentally, people of color. I've never heard her use the word ghetto to describe anyone else than a person of color. And to me, this signifies her lack of knowledge and her bigotry. Because first, if we were to define the word if we were to define the word ghetto, that's just an impoverished neighborhood. Anne Frank, the Jewish girl who hid from the Gestapo, she lived in what was called a ghetto. But do we call a Jewish person ghetto? Do we call a white person who lives in an impoverished neighborhood or a trailer park, do we call them ghetto? No. These are terms that have been used by functioning racists, people who consider their race to be superior and other races to be inferior, but they're functioning in society. They understand that there's no longer a time that you can be racist outwardly to employees. That doesn't work anymore. So they're functioning racists, okay? So they use these words ghetto, thug, the streets to describe us, because when I say us, I mean black people. They use that to describe us because they can't call us what they want, okay? So what we have to understand is there's a perception of us. We need to take this perception into mind, into thought. We can no longer perpetuate the stereotypes that have been made about us, okay? That's number one. We can no longer perpetuate the views that they have of us. We have to become masters of our own destiny and of our own future and become what we know we can. So now, I'm going to come back to you because this video is cutting off and I want to say some more. Alright, part two. Sorry about the break. So what I want to further elaborate on is our place in society as black people. Okay? To do that, I think it's important to speak of, in part, our history. Now, that can be a whole dialogue. I'm not necessarily interested in I am interested. I'm not interested in right now telling you every part of our history. What is important is to know that we were in slavery for a better part of 400 years as black people by racist oppressors. And when we were abolished from this mental and physical slavery, we were then placed in ghettos or impoverished neighborhoods, along with being segregated from the rest of society. So this is where you saw the pictures of Negro-only water fountains, white-only bathrooms, Negro-only restaurants, white-only swimming pools. So we have to understand that was maybe 50, 60 years ago. There are people who are alive today who saw signs posted that said Negro only. There are people who are alive today. So we have to take into accountability that this whole pandemic of racism, oppression, segregation is not that far removed from our American society. There are people today who were targeted for the color of their skin. There are people who are alive today who targeted people for the color of their skin. Okay? So with that being said, we have to understand that our history is deep as black people. Now, I say that to say our history plays a part in our current condition. There's a book that I recently stumbled upon, and I believe it's called The 10 Little Nigger Boys. And forgive me if that bothers you, or forgive me if I'm using the word wrong, because I don't know the exact name of the book offhand. I don't remember the exact name of the book, but I will leave a link in the description of the name of the book. Anyway, in this book, which was published in the early 1900s, it's a nursery book, meaning it was made for children of a young age to learn certain fundamentals. This book was made and published, and it was about 10 black children who, or should I say it was a book about black children. It starts off with 10 black children, and by the end of the book, it slowly gets to one black child. And every black child that they count down from is somehow eliminated by some force or fate of nature. And they're calling them nigger boys. And this is how they're teaching white children how to read. Okay? And so we have to understand that many racist people have been indoctrinated from a young age to feel a hatred for something that's not like themselves. Okay? So that's not to say that these people are not held accountable. It is to say, however, that their upbringing played a large role in how they maneuver today. I'm speaking of racist people. Their upbringing. And if we were to be very honest, because I've had a few white friends, I have a number of white associates, and if we were to be very honest, if you were to be very honest as a white person watching this video, you would know that you have family members that make racist jokes or are completely racist without joking. You would know that, oh, Grandpa Joe or Aunt Sally, she doesn't like black people, and she never did, and she never will. See, that alone should let you know their level of ignorance. Their level of ignorance, okay? Anyone who is so hard pressed to a viewpoint, or so invested in a belief that they are not willing to accept outside information or evidence to the contrary, that would be described as delusional. Okay? If you are holding on to a belief despite contrary evidence, that goes under the definition of delusion. So we're understanding now that many racist people are delusional, to say the very least, and ignorant, to go furthermore, because they're basing their viewpoints, their perception, off of isolated incidents that have occurred to them in their previous experiences. So that means to say, me, a person like me, who you've never seen before, you're going to base your perception of me and your perception of my behavior, of what I will do and what I will say, and relatively of who I am, you're going to base all of that off of a perception of an experience that you had in your prior life, or prior to now, prior to meeting me. So I've met many people who demean me, belittle me, treat me as if I don't have intelligence, and speak down to me because I'm black. And now many people say, oh, you're pulling the race card. No, we have to understand the context of the history of what we're going through. When you see these stereotypes perpetuated on VH1 or MTV or BET or even the news or even in your actual streets, you're seeing a fraction of what we are as a whole of black people. You're seeing a fraction of us. Okay? So there's many people who don't have, or should I say, who have a very limited experience with black people. So the only time they see a black person is maybe on TV, on Love and Hip Hop acting a fool. Or the only time they saw a black person was the black guy who came and robbed their nephew's house or something like that. So they're basing their experiences off of isolated incidents. Mind you, I want to tell, if any of you find yourself in that predicament or know that you've done that before, I don't blame you. I don't hate you. But I do want you to understand that that's ignorance. That's not intelligence, to base your viewpoint of anything in this world based off of, solely off of your prior experience. Okay? We have to understand that things happen on an individual basis, which is why I don't hate all cops. I don't hate all police officers, but I do understand, based off of my previous experiences, that many of them have been trained and taught to treat me a certain way. Therefore, I act accordingly in this environment. Okay? So, with that being said, we have to understand where our place is. Our rightful place, okay? I could go into the history of where we came, and that the first human remains, or the bones, the skeletal structure, or the first, or the oldest living, or the oldest known human being, known as Lucy, was found in Africa. We can say that. That is a fact, that the oldest known living remains are found in Africa. Therefore, it stands to reason that we are potentially, possibly, and likely the founders or the beginning of civilization. I could also say that if we are human beings, and we dissect the word hue, man beings, hue meaning color or shade, man meaning our species, if we combine those hue, shade, man species, that would mean a shaded species. That would mean that a human is a shaded man. We could then say that maybe the black man is who they're referring to when they say human. We can also say that brown is a natural color, a earth tone color, a naturally occurring color. We can say that the bark or the skin of the very trees that give us oxygen are black, or brown, should I say. We could say that the soil in which nutrients and civilization grows upon is brown. The very soil that our grass grows from is brown. We can say that as well. But the point that I'm making is that you, my friend, and me are human beings. Therefore, it's less important what others view as of us as. It's more important what we view ourselves as. Because only from self-perception can come actualization, realization, and then action. Okay? So this was part 2, again, another 10-minute video, and I'll be back with you with another part. Thank you. Alright, I'm back with part 3, and I promise it's only going to be 4 parts. I promise. We're almost done, okay? So, furthermore, I want to speak now about a little bit more about our perception, okay? So, I have many times, even on this very YouTube channel, I've put some videos out where some people have told me, and mind you, this isn't the first time I've been told. I've been told multiple times throughout my entire life. But particularly on YouTube and other places, they tell me, wow, man, you are a cool dude. You are not like other black people. I've been told you are so different than other black people I've run across. They say, I've been told if more black people were like you, I'd have a million black friends. They say, I haven't been around black people like you, which is why I'm scared to hang around black people, because every black person I hang around end up screwing me over. I've been told that so many times in so many different ways and so many different times in my life that I understand now what it means. At first I maybe have gotten offended by it, but now I understand exactly what they mean. I know it. I've seen it. Okay? This is what we're talking about, perception. The perception that people have of us as black people is what we need to be mindful of, okay? Because it's true that we are perpetuating stereotypes. When people bring up the black on black crime, that's true. Okay? We can't be scared of that. Now I'm talking to my fellow black people. This is for us, okay? Because with all the information and knowledge that we can possess and that I'm trying to tell you about, if we're not acting right, it's moot, it's void, diminished. Doesn't matter, okay? When we kill our fellow brother over some Michael Jordan shoes that we waited in line for and spent an exuberant amount of money on, and they cost a fraction of that to make, that doesn't matter. But when we kill our brother over that, or rob our brother over that, and then it's reported on the news just so that we can look better with some nice shoes on our feet, that's wrong. When we form gangs against each other and move away from the blueprint from what these gangs were created for, now mind you, you see that, right? The city of LA. Now, I'm no gangbanger, but I know a little bit about that life, okay? I know a little bit about what gangs are, being that I was born and raised in the trenches of all that. What I saw from Bloods and Crips were many lost and misguided young black individuals. Misguided by prior misguided individuals. Okay? So they're willing to put their life on the line, carry the gun, and do whatever they need, the initiation processes, to prove to their elders that they are who they say they are. Right? Many gangs have, you know, information and pamphlets and meetings in which they have intricate signs and intricate rules, protocols. Even Tookie Williams and the like, in the beginning, they say they form these gangs to make, to make very established and organized protection in our neighborhoods, okay? But we've moved on from that, and we've transgressed from that into a state where it's blue against red, a black man against another black man, and we kill them if they don't follow our protocol. Okay? See, that's what's wrong. These type of things are wrong. Okay? We can't end the conversation at the racist white man or the oppression of the black man if we do not include what we have done to further perpetuate these stereotypes. Okay? So when I say accountability, this is what I mean. I'm speaking of the accountability that we have as black people. We have to take accountability for a lot of the things that we've done. Yes, there's a past that has, made an environment that is very convoluted, polluted, and makes the environment very wrong for us to grow up in. Yes, there's slavery. Yes, there's oppression. All these type of things. But present day, 2017, if you as a black man or woman are still perpetuating stereotypes, you are the problem. Now, I say that to say this. I'm not above you. I've perpetuated stereotypes. I'm no holier than thou person. But what I'm saying is that it's time. I've already evaluated myself. Before I started even making videos, I took time, years even, to evaluate myself. I have black children, 3 black boys that I'm raising up, that I had to evaluate myself before I look in their eyes and tell them what I'm telling them. I can't look at them and lie or be a hypocrite. I have to be who I really am. That way, if my son sees my actions, it can match up to my words. That's what I'm calling accountability. You know, we can no longer look at our fellow brother as a nigga, our fellow sister as a bitch or a hoe. Regardless of her actions, we have to use our energy, our information, our passion, our love to elevate. Okay? We have to elevate our brothers and sisters. By calling them a hoe based on their actions, that's not elevating them. Although you may be saying the truth, you're not elevating them. By calling him a nigga for his prior actions, his misguided actions, that's not elevating him. My suggestion is we learn how to incorporate certain vocabulary or vernacular into our repertoire, like king. If I see another black man, I've told other black men, I view you as a king, brother. I view you as a young king. And just so you know, if you ever tell another black man, look, I view you as a king, and you look him in his eyes and you show him, watch how he's overcome with emotion. Watch what the look that comes over his face, because he's never heard another black man call him a king. He's only called him a nigga, a bitch ass nigga. You ain't got these shoes like I got. You ain't got a good looking girl like I got. So when we don't love ourselves, when we've been taught to love ourselves, our hair, our features, when we've been taught these things, we don't love ourselves. Then we see another person who looks like us. Why would we love that person who looks like us when we don't love ourselves in the mirror? Why? But you know what? Take it upon yourself today to call another black man a king, to call a black woman a queen, and to call her beautiful without the means of trying to get with her or get in her pants. Now I call black woman, I see a black woman, you know what? I don't mean to stop you from your day, but you're beautiful. You're glowing today. You're glowing. You tell them that, watch how they feel. Watch how they put their chin up. Because so many times they've been taught they're ugly. They're a monkey, a tar baby, a nigger, a porch monkey, a coon. That's what they've been taught. That's what they've been called. So when you put them back into their rightful environment and say, look here, I see that you're filled with light. Go on, my black brother, my filled with light brother, my queen, my creator. Because, you know, a woman is beautiful. We come from women. We want the softness of a woman. A black woman who's been torn down and discriminated against, and she can still look beautiful and radiant. That's a queen to me. That's a queen. So what I'm saying to you is, let's stand up and say, I hear what y'all saying about us. I hear it. I heard it. I see it. But now this is what I'm saying about us. Based on all the things that we've gone through. We've been from slavery. We've been pharaohs and kings before that. You know, we've been through segregation. Right now, we're dominating the sports world. We're dominating other fields. You know, we were whipped and beaten and told not to read. And now we have some of the best and the most intelligent and brightest scholars available. These are present day times. We can become great. We are great. It's through self-realization that we materialize that greatness for others to attest to. So that's what that is about. Accountability, my brothers and sisters. Again, this is part 3. Battery, or should I say the video cuts off at 10 minutes. So I'm going to come back to you with my final